Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at how we CAD model the individual parts of the trivet, and then in a separate video we're going to look at how we use assembly constraints to put it all together. So here's an assembled view, both as orthographic and as a pictorial, an isometric, a 3D view of our trivet. You can see that we have part 1, which is our base, and part 2, which is our crossbar. Now looking at our parts list, you can see that we have 4 base components and we have 2 crossbars. These are shown in this page here. We can see our crossbars are a little bit longer than our base. We're going to start first of all by modelling the crossbars because they are a little bit easier, and then we're going to model the base. To do this, we use Autodesk Inventor. We'll start with New, select a metric option, and then choose Standard Millimeter IPT. We'll click Create, and then what we'll do is start a 2D sketch. We'll click on Front, and then choose the XY plane. This brings us into our 2D sketch mode where we're going to create our profile shape. We'll click the rectangle option. We're going to go down and make sure we've selected 2-point center rectangle. And we're going to click the middle origin point where it goes green, click once, move out and click again. What we can then do is we can add our dimensions. We click the dimension option, we click our top line and then click above. This is where we can enter our length, which is 198 millimeters. You can see just now that it's got too big for the screen, but if I click front, it will zoom back into that. What I can then do is select dimension again, click my right hand side, click out again, and then I can enter the height. And if we check our drawing, we can see that it's got a height of 25, but a thickness of 12. Our height goes in at 25. And then what we do is we click Finish Sketch. What we'll then do is we'll click on the top right corner of the view cube just so we can see the full object in a kind of 3D perspective. We'll then choose the Extrude option, and then we're going to extrude symmetrically, and we're going to set our distance to be 12 millimeters. And we can click OK. What we'll then do is we'll go and change our material, and we'll scroll down and we'll select one of the wood options. In this case, we're going to choose oak. If that doesn't appear in this option here, what you should still be able to do is use the options from this drop down where you get some slightly different materials. For example, you could choose yellow pine. Once I've completed this, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Save As. And what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you have created a little folder for the trivet in your H drive. That's the drive that is named after you on the school network. It will show up as your school username. To create a new folder, all you would do is click on the Create New Folder icon, and then you can name it as Trivet. I'm then going to put that in and change my part name to be Crossbar. Once I've done that, I can click Save. And then what I'll do is I'll start looking at the drawings for the base. They're very, very similar, the only difference being that we have these 2 little slots cut from them. Our process is mainly the same. We go back into Autodesk Inventor. This time we go to File and we choose New. Now your File option may show as a big large Inventor icon, the big I. That's the same as clicking File. Click on New and then again choose Metric, Standard Millimeter IPT and click Create. We go to Start Sketch again. We again choose the front surface of our view cube and we choose the XY plane. We'll choose the 2-point center rectangle. We'll click the center origin, move out to the top right and click again. We'll choose dimension from the top. We'll click our top line once and then move above and click again. And this time set your length to 180. Clicking the front of the view cube will bring it back into view. And then we just need to make sure that we've got the right height and thickness. Again, we'll check our drawing for that. You can see the height is the same, it's 25. And you can see the thickness is the same as well, the thickness is 12. The only difference here is that we can see our thickness in the plan view here, whereas we could see it in the end elevation for the crossbar. The thickness though of both bits of material is still the same. We're going to click Dimension, click the right hand side, click out again, and input 25. We'll finish sketch, click on the front or the top right of the view cube to get it back into view. We'll choose Extrude, and then we'll choose the symmetric option. We'll change our distance to be 12 and click OK. Again, we're going to go in and we can change our material options. This time I will leave the base part as oak. And what I'm going to do just now, just so I don't lose any of my work, is I'm going to go to File. I'm going to do Save As. I'm going to make sure it goes into the same folder, and I'm going to label this as Base. Now what I can do is I can start a sketch on the front surface of the base. And if I go back into my drawings, I'm now going to try and draw these two square shapes. They're left open at the top, but we're going to draw them as complete squares. They are 12mm in height and 12mm in length, and both are positioned 30mm from the end of our object. To do this, we'll choose our rectangle option, but this time we'll choose our 2-point rectangle option. We're going to wait until our line snaps to the top of the object here, click once and move down and click again. You don't need to worry about sizes just yet. Then choose dimension. We're going to choose the right hand side and click the left hand side, and then move above and click again and input the number as 12. We're then going to do the same from the top to the bottom and then move out either to the left, or in this case probably easier to go to the right, and input that as 12. Now we have that right height and the right length, we need to get the right position. We still use the same dimension option, but we're going to click the far right hand side of our base. We're going to click the right hand side of our square and then click above and change that dimension to 30. The process is identical for the one at the other side. We start with a 2-point rectangle. Remember, changing your setting to the 2-point rectangle. Clicking the top line, moving down and clicking again. Then clicking your dimension option. Click the left, click the right and click above. Input 12 as your distance. And then from the top to the bottom, out to this side and input 12. The last point is to click dimension, click the left hand side, click the left hand side of the square, move up above and change that number to 30. What we can then do is finish our sketch, and we're going to use the extrude option. We're going to click this profile here and this profile, and what you can see is they're starting to add material, but we want to subtract the material. To do that, we choose the cut option. Sometimes these little icons are stacked one on top of the other depending on what version of Inventor you're using. We could either change our distance to be the same as the thickness of the material, which is 12, and you can see it would cut all the way through, or we could choose the through all option. Once we've done that, we click OK, and you can see that now the part has been given the right properties. It now looks the way it should in the drawing. If I was to rotate that and use my orbit command, what I can then do is I can see that I have that shape in 3 dimensions, and we can use it for our assembly later on. Now that I have the part complete, because I've already saved it, I can just use the save icon at the top. As we now have both parts modelled, we'll be able to assemble them in a later video.